Tonight, on a very special episode of Cell Damage, will Violet finally learn of the disease that's slowly killing her? Will Cinder finally become house-trained? Nah! We'll just drive around way too fast and blow up everything in sight like we do every week. And don't forget to call in during the show and buy crap that you'll never need. Not available in all states. Cell Damage, tonight at 8.
Growing up, I'm sure you probably played a lot of party games like Mario Kart or Super Smash Bros., but let me introduce you to my personal favorite, Cell Damage, for the original Xbox, GameCube, and PS2. We'll get into the PS2 version a little later, but first, I'm sure you're asking me right now, what is Cell Damage? Cell Damage was a cartoony take on the vehicular combat genre like Twisted Metal, and it was developed by a team called Pseudo Interactive, and it was published by EA. Yeah, that EA. It was released in 2001 as a launch title for original Xbox, and then it was later ported over to the GameCube and PS2. The PS2 port was actually handled by another studio called System 3, and it was published under their Play label. For some reason, it didn't get released outside of the EU. They also added the Overdrive subtitle to differentiate it from the original because some changes were made. Unfortunately, 13 years after the original's release, an independent studio in Toronto, Canada called Finish Line Games decided to make an HD version for the PlayStation 3, 4, and Vita. They used Overdrive as the one to remaster. Anyways, the Xbox One port came out 2 years after that, and the Nintendo Switch port came 3 years after the Xbox. I used the HD version for the background of the video. With that small history lesson behind us, let me tell you about the game's story, characters, and gameplay. The game's story, or I guess it'd be more accurate to describe it as a premise instead, is 10 characters take part in a reality TV version of a demolition derby. But because the world is based on cartoons, none of them can die. The 6 base characters all have small movies in-game that show how they got hired, commercial advertisements, or interviews. This is where you can piece together how the world works, specifically in Violet's interview. Speaking of characters, why not introduce them to you now? So the game comes straight out of the box with 6 characters already unlocked: Violet, BT, Bruno, Cinder, Dominique, Foulmouth, and Fleming. You can also unlock 4 additional characters by winning in all 3 game modes of the world's stages, but I'll get into that later in the video. For now, let's stick to characters. Whack Angus, T-Rex, Count Earl, and Brian the Brain. These 4 are treated as bosses, or as the game's lore puts it, special guest stars in each of the worlds. Let's take a look into each character's personality and backstory. Number 1 on the list is Violet. She is some kind of demon girl, and is probably the main character of the fictional TV show. We'll get into it a little later in the gameplay section of the video, but each character has a signature weapon, and Violet happens to be a Modar. Her projectiles are little skulls, and despite her girlish appearance, don't let it fool you. She will absolutely destroy you if you happen to annoy her when she is in a bad mood, as shown in her intro movie.
We're doing your interview. Didn't you get the memo?
Flip off or die, Chucklehead.
Violet, what do you like most about starring in Cell Damage?
I'll show you.
Little fun fact, for some reason, Violet is the only character with a page on the Cell Damage wiki. Second is BT Bruno. What does BT stand for? It could be bacon and tomato, but to be honest, that's just a theory. A game theory. Play his audition tape.
I'm BLT without the lettuce. A man-sized serving, you won't forget us. I've always wanted to be an entertainer, ever since I was a kid, just like my hero, the king.
Okay, that's nice. Thank you for coming. We'll call you.
I can dance too if you want.
Oh, God, no. That's okay. We've seen enough. Thank you. Next.
Wait, I can do one more thing. I have an 18,000-pound truck that can crush anything.
Why didn't you say so? You're hired.
His signature weapon is a mallet. It is pretty fun to use, but it probably has the worst damage output out of all the signature weapons. His projectiles are hammers, and he's been wanting to break into the show business just like his idol, the King Elvis. Diving into the depths of hell, next we have Cinder, a small devil who was too destructive for even Satan to handle. He got hired after somehow walking onto the Cell Damage set when they were hiring.
Cinder really has a unique style of cooking. I'm not sure if the judges are going to approve or not.
I'm thinking very much that Chef Pierre's dish is looking much more tasty at this point, I must admit.
What will the judges think about all this raw meat? Cinder didn't even have time to cook it.
Oops! Oh yeah!
His signature weapon is a wood chipper. It is one of the more satisfying weapons to use in the game, and his projectiles are fireballs. He has a very chaotic personality, and is one of the more memorable characters of the cast. Next we have Dominique, and to be honest, there's not much I can say that her intro video wouldn't explain better than I could, so play it.
Okay then, Friday it is. Parliament building. Oops, gotta go, darling. I'm getting beat. Hello? Oh, stop worrying. The meeting with the network went great. Actually, he's right here. No. He can't talk right now. You're not done yet. Back to polishing my boots. You missed a spot.
Yes, ma'am.
I've got the new cell damage contract right here. You're welcome.
Her signature weapon is a crossbow that sticks dynamites onto the enemy, and her projectiles are spiky balls. Moving on to a character who had a very important role in my childhood, Foulmouth, a classic 1930s gangster, and, well, same as Dominique, it's better if I just show you.
Whatever you want. Take it. Money, jewelry.
I don't want that. You're gonna put me on the show, see? You're gonna make me a star, if you know what's good for you, huh?
Oh, not you again. You're already on the show, you moron. Oh, actors.
His signature weapon is a Tommy gun, and his projectiles are bricks. One thing I learned while researching this video is that he is voiced by the one and only Charles Martinet. Yes, that Charles Martinet. Last of the base cast, we have Fleming, a nerd with anger issues. What, you wanted more? Well, too bad. There really isn't more. Here, take a look at his entry in the Cell Damage Wiki. Who is Relay? When did he eat him? I have multiple questions that I don't have the answers to because of this. Anyways, play his movie.
Fleming, I understand Butch here used to pick on you in school, steal your lunch money, tear off your arms. How did that make you feel?
Like this.
Oh my God! What have you done to me?
Our next bully is Jocko. Come on out, boy.
This may drain the studio's electricity.
His signature weapon is a laser gun that leaves burns after it hits an enemy and bounces all over the place. His projectiles are ninja stars. Now, because the video is getting too long already, and the next characters, in my opinion, are very one note, let's speed run through the 4 of them. Whack Angus is a bull from Texas, and quite honestly, reminds me a little of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. His signature weapon is 2 meat cleavers, pretty dark if you ask me. Anyways, projectiles are rocks. T-Rex, he's a dinosaur with a large ego, and he has a complex about his height. His signature weapon is a shrink ray, and maybe he wants to be Godzilla. To be honest, I don't know. I made that thing up about his height complex because I have no idea why a T-Rex would have a shrink ray as a weapon. His projectiles are bones. Count Earl, a vampire, my main, and also the bane of my brother's childhood existence. His signature weapon is seeking missiles. Again, who gave the vampire missiles? Anyways, moving on, his projectiles are these batarang things. Brian the Brain is a brain in a jar or a fishbowl. Could be both. Anyways, his signature weapon is a nuclear mine. This one kind of makes sense in my head somehow, but whatever. Projectiles are nuclear waste, it seems. Smack Attack is probably the mode you would have played the most in your childhood. The goal is simple: attack the enemies until your hit counter reaches a certain amount, and you win. What do you use to hit others? Well, aside from a character's signature weapon, there are also item boxes spread out around the map that are randomized and could have any number of weapons, be it freeze gun or an attack helicopter upgrade for your car. The maps also have a number of environmental hazards, some that can be activated by other players and some that are just at the whim of the game's AI, but an enemy can still push you into those. Moving on, we have Capture the Flag. Get 4 flags to the designated area and you win. One problem though, the flags have a mind of their own, and if you get smacked around, you'll lose the flag and have to chase them down again. Again, the maps have the same item boxes spread out around the map, but the items also affect the flags too, so you can freeze them, throw them to a black hole, or accidentally shred them in Cinder's wood chipper. Last but certainly not least is Gate Rally, or just racing. Pretty simple, race around the map, going through specific gates in a specific order. You loop around 3 times and you're the winner. Items are still on in this mode and things can get pretty hectic. Now usually I would have moved on to the closing words at this point, but there is one more thing I have to talk about. If you remember at the beginning of the video, I mentioned being disappointed at Overdrive being the version used for the HD port, and courtesy of Reddit user Buckeye451 over on r/Switch, I will now read out all the changes and it's pretty lengthy list, so here we go.
Difficulty and speed of the cars is lowered. Health bars are added so there are no more insta-kills. The death animations are all the same. The car parts now glitch to the ground instead of bouncing all over the place. The ability to swing on vines is now removed. A lot of the weapons are now useless because of the health bars. Unlock mode is removed. It is now possible to complete the game for your own settings. The primary weapon will not give the player smack points, but it can be used to damage opponents. A bonus stage called Boss Bash and 5 new weapons. Shimtar, Javelin, TNT Sheep, Cloak, and Lightning are now added. A stunt feature is added. Attacking opponents while stunting gives the player double smack points. The AI players cannot use the stunt feature. A boost meter is added. The player can earn boost by stunting forward. The AI players do not use the boost feature. The 6 main characters' intro videos are not available from the start. They need to be unlocked, and the weapons will now be unlocked. The weapons will now unlock differently. In Flag Rally, the player doesn't need to bring 4 flags to the same time to the winner circle to win the match. Instead, the player needs 10 points to win, which are earned by bringing flags to the winner circles. Gate Rally has more gates now. It is now a checkpoint race with 8 laps. The progress screen is removed. Instead, check marks are now used on the stage selection screen. Taunts and the horn now use the same button.
And I have to agree, the only positive changes was the addition of the new stage and the new weapons. Quite honestly, this game dropped the ball quite hard when it came to the HD release of this game. Would have been perfect for online play, but they skipped out on it for some reason. But I guess any way to relive my childhood is better than nothing, I guess. Well, that's it for this video. I had a scripted part for this, but I'm going to go off the script because I'm tired and I don't want to read anymore. To be honest, I have no idea why I made this video. I'm not that passionate about Cell Damage, but I like the game and I wanted to put something out there that some people would enjoy. And just like a small retrospective on one of my childhood games seemed like the perfect thing to do. Next time, I don't think I'm going to go as scripted as I did with this one. But, yeah, that's it. And drop in the comments, should I keep using that voice or should I just stick to this more mellow, chilled voice instead? See you next time. Peace.